Are we there? Can you see?
We are there. Yes, we can. Do you want to go to slideshow and select the from beginnings button? You're set now, Carolyn. Thank you. I will mute myself. Thank you, Carolyn. Okay, we're all
Sorry
good.
to sound so retarded, but I'm not used to this. So before we get started, I wanted to share the pictures of the Competition Council, and that's the first part of our presentation here. So we have our managers are coming from all of the different areas that, oh, I don't think slideshow is going to work for me. I think I might not talk fast enough. Let me go back to options. Remote control.
Just click escape, Carolyn.
Presentation.
Escape,
presentation.
Okay. Presentation is where? File?
You know what? Just don't worry about it, and just like that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So we've been blessed to have so many of our returning managers and former presidents of the association in different areas to help us with the competition for this year. That's a blessing. But our competition contacts are Brian Flannery for our webmaster, Nitsa Hauser as our technical advisor. I'm a trainer. Phoebe is a trainer. Bobby Werner is the awards manager. Carolyn Klenger is our judging manager. Malou is our entries manager. And this is the website for all of our assets that we have to refer to. If you go to www.stcmetro.org home competitions judges, you'll find that we have not only this presentation, but all of our assets for the forms are located in that area. So one of the questions we have is, why would somebody want to be a judge for this competition? Because there is so much effort involved. And why would somebody want to be a judge? And that's for their own personal growth and to be familiar with our professional standards, to see what other companies are doing in the area of technical writing, to evaluate entries for quality, to build relationships with other technical communicators. For some of our judges, this is an opportunity for you to feel like you're a part of a community, to share ideas, to look at other entries and other things that are being offered as technical writing for this year, to build teamwork skills and to give back to the professional community as a whole. So these are some of the reasons why you would want to participate as a judge. For all of you who have volunteered this year, we want to tell you how important it is to participate in this level and how much you're going to enjoy and get out of this experience. My view of the benefits for judging: STC has been dedicated to the advancement of the arts and sciences of technical communication, both on the regional and local levels of these competitions. And acting as a judge in the competitions fosters a spirit of sharing the mutually beneficial knowledge and experience. It helps us to elevate the quality of the user information and user experience throughout the technical communication industry. Judging offers you the opportunity to learn firsthand what user experiences other companies are offering their customers this year. Judging brings technical writing professionals together to evaluate materials that they wouldn't otherwise experience. And every time that I have joined in the judging process, I've learned from these experiences and grown as a writer. So I applaud you, all of you, for offering to judge for this year. What do submitters get out of this experience? And they receive a professional level feedback. And so for some of our entries, these entrants are the sole writers in their companies, and this is their only opportunity to get feedback from other writers. They want to test a format, or they want to prove a point, or they want to win an award. In the past, only entries that received a distinguished or excellence award at the STC chapter level could advance and go on to an international competition. I don't know that this is going to be the case this year, that international is going to be involved in these entries, and only Malou or Carolyn can speak to that later. Entries are evaluated by a 3 or 4 judge team. Each entry completes the entry, each judge completes an entry assessment form for each entry in the package that they receive. One lead judge for the team coordinates the worksheets and the assessment forms. The team assists the lead judge in preparing a summary for each entry, and on consensus day, these teams meet together and they complete these summary forms. If for any reason you're not able to attend this consensus judging event, you have to prepare your assessment forms in advance and give them to your lead judge. Individual teams reach a consensus on the award levels for their entries, and this includes the designation of no award. So some of your entries are not going to receive any level of an award, but you still have to complete your assessment forms for those entries. Distinguished nominees are nominated, are evaluated together, and they can be evaluated for the best of show status. Only those distinguished award winners are in that category. And finally, the best of show entry is selected. What your responsibilities are as a judge include checking your entry package. Now, you're going to receive either a physical entry, or you're going to receive notes on how to get to your online entries. And those, you have to look at those and contact your team leader if something is missing. If you didn't get a link that worked, or you didn't receive your physical entry, and contact your lead team leader. If there is an entry that you've received that you feel has been miscategorized, and we'll talk later about, Phoebe, I think, is going to talk about what the categories are and what they mean. And if you feel like you have an entry that's been miscategorized, you want to contact your team leader and let her know, or him know, that there's a problem with that entry. Judges are personally responsible for completing an entry assessment form for each of the entries that they receive. When you do the entry assessment form, it can take between 4 and 6 hours for each entry that you've received. So if you have 3 entries, this means that between 12 and 18 hours of your time is going to be necessary to complete your assessment forms. The forms must be completed before the consensus day, and this year the consensus day has been designated as April 17th. You have to have your forms done earlier if you're not going to be able to attend that event. The lead judge coordinates the pre-consensus day meeting to see where everybody is in the process, and to help the team complete their entries. The team leader is there as an asset to help you with your process. And try your best, if you can, to attend that consensus day event, because that really is the culmination of all the efforts that everyone makes for this judging experience. Entry forms have to be, and entries have to be available on that day. The lead judge reviews all the assessment forms for completeness. The lead judge also records all award levels submitted, and they especially want to coordinate those entries that are going to be nominated for the best of show. Lead judges prepare a summary form for each entry. So they coordinate, they look at the culmination of the judging comments from the judges on their team, and they prepare those summary forms. The lead judge returns all of the entries and entry assessment forms to the competition judging manager and entries manager. And those contexts I gave you previously on slide 3. Your duties and responsibilities include that when you receive your package, you review the contents to assure that you have all of the entries that were assigned to you. You contact your lead judges and fellow judges on your team with any questions that you might have. You attend the pre-conference, that's pre-consensus day conference, meeting with your team, and you complete the judging worksheet for each entry before the team meeting. You complete the entry assessment form for each entry before the consensus day, and you have your completed assessment forms and any physical entries with you when you attend that consensus day event. Be prepared to make changes to your entry assessment forms during consensus. Sometimes you change your mind about an entry after you discuss it with other judges. So it can happen that you've completed your entry assessment forms and you start discussing this with your fellow judges, and you find that you missed something that was a key element of the assessment. And that absolutely can happen. It has happened to me. You're in the middle of this discussion and somebody notices that something major has come up that you missed when you were judging the entry. So you want to be able to make adjustments to your assessment forms once you have the opportunity to discuss this with your fellow judges. So you want your computer there, and you want to have, a thumb drive and the forms available so that you can make those adjustments if you need to. You have to form an initial opinion about whether or not an entry should receive an award, and you want to be able to discuss that level of award that you feel the entry should receive. Now, sometimes when you get into this situation, you feel that something it maybe was just a merit award winner. And when you discuss this with the other judges, that you find that there were key elements that they bring forward and discuss with you that bring your understanding of the award level to a different level. Maybe this was really an excellence award entry and you thought it was just a merit, or the other way around. Maybe you thought it should receive an excellence award, and then other judges bring to your attention the details that make you realize that it should in fact be a merit award instead of excellence. It can go either way, but the important thing about the consensus event is that you discuss each entry fully. You discuss it and come to an understanding that you can share with your fellow judges. The lead judger of this event is the person who has the opportunity to determine what sections of the entry should be evaluated. No one expects that if you receive a physical copy or a PDF file that is 300 pages, for example, of a user's guide, that you have to read the entire 300 pages of that entry. That's not true, but your team leader will say, look, let's take a look at this, and we're going to determine that we all have to read the overview section. And then maybe there are 2 or 3 other sections of the book that we're going to focus on. We don't have to read 300 pages, but we do have to focus in on certain sections, maybe the overview section and maybe 2 or 3 other sections. That determination is made by the the team leader. You want to make sure that you're using this year's forms. You don't want to say, oh, I've done this before, let me just use last year's forms. That won't work, because the forms have been updated this year, as Phoebe will instruct you. There are new forms and you want to use the correct form. There are additional comments sections and summary sections in the assessment form, and those will be the basis for doing those summary forms at the end of the judging experience. And you want to make sure that every assessment form is checked for completeness and that the tone of comments is correct. So when you're doing your individual assessment, you might look at something that you received this year and say, oh my God, what were they thinking? Oh, this isn't a professional entry. This is not an award-winning entry. This is not something that we look at and say, oh, this is a fine job that you did this year. You don't want to make off-the-cuff comments that are of a very negative quality. You want to make sure that the tone of your comments is useful and helpful, but not overly critical. And you're never criticizing an individual. You're only criticizing what you're looking at in the terms of the entry. So that tone is going to be checked by your team leader. And you want to prepare the team's nominations for the best of show entries. Again, this applies only to those entries that received a designation of distinguished. For general guidelines, use the criteria questions as guidelines for evaluating each entry. Use the prompts on the forms as a starting point for your review, and you use your own personal knowledge of technical communications to augment the criteria that we're providing. Note that some criteria are not applicable to all entries. For example, we get entries of training material, and those training material sections don't apply to users' guides or other kinds of materials that you'll be evaluating. Write useful comments for all entries, even those that are not going to receive an award. And your comments are both important and required. We know from experience that people that have given us their entries are really focused on these comments. They are very important to them. And so that you want to make sure that you understand that they're important, and you want to make sure that you provide them, and try to provide 3 compliments or add 3 suggestions for each entry that you're looking at. And sometimes that's difficult, and you might struggle with providing 3, but still try your very best to provide those 3 compliments and 3 suggestions for every entry. If an entry is problematic, don't rewrite the project for them. So nobody gave you this assignment and said, okay, here's an entry and it's very problematic and it's your job to fix it. Nobody is saying that you have to rewrite that project. You want to make sure that you make reasonable suggestions for improvement, but you don't want to give them a laundry list of a dozen or 2 dozen comments that say, you know, you've got to fix this, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Don't do that. Try to stick to that guideline of 3 items. You want to try to say something positive and try to provide useful comments, but don't rewrite the entry for them. You want to list the most important elements first. So don't say, make sure that you read a spell check against this item and think that that's the number 1 issue. Maybe the number 1 issue is organizational. You might want to tell them that you'd recommend that they do an outline at the beginning of the project to make sure that they stay on track. And spelling is important. Everybody knows that, but it might not be the most important thing to list first. You want to use specific examples. You want to talk about a page location, a chapter location, and say, here's where the problem is. Keep your comments to the point and don't lecture. Offer suggestions, but don't mandate that something has to be done a certain way. Give concrete suggestions for improvement, and phrase your feedback in the most positive way. Evaluate the work and not the subject matter, and don't be preoccupied with minor flaws. We have found in the past that we've had entries that were not submitted by the person who was responsible for writing that particular project. We have found that sometimes managers submit entries and they use their comments in their employee evaluation for the year. So you want to make sure that you phrase your comments in a very positive way, because you don't want them to be used against someone in their employee evaluation for this year. You want to make sure that you don't try to be humorous. Although you may have a wonderful personality and you like sharing your humor with others, when people receive your comments, they can't evaluate, or they can't see you, number one, and they can't appreciate your comments in a humorous way. So don't try to be funny. Don't try to be influenced by your company's standards or their style guide. Don't try to be influenced by your own personal preferences. We want to stick to professional standards. And check your comments for spelling and grammar. These evaluation forms are in Word, and Word has a spelling and grammar checking feature, and you want to make sure that you use those features to make sure that you don't, especially since we're evaluating somebody else's work, you don't want to make a mistake on your own work on your evaluation form. Consider that some contributors don't have control over the entire process. So they might be subject to an editor or a graphics illustrator or whatever that had a different idea than their original concept. So try to consider that not everybody has control over the whole process. Some pieces that we are looking at are produced on a very limited budget. Consider how effectively the available resources of the project were used for this entry, and consider how well the entry communicates its message to its intended audience. Here are some examples of comments that were provided in the past. People can come to an index with many different words in mind for the same action or concept, so try to anticipate what those words might be and include them. This comment suggests a way that improves the index without criticizing the author's approach. The more you use highlighting, the less effective it becomes. So you might want to reconsider your choice of highlighting all notes and tips. So here's a gentle way of saying, maybe you've got highlighting all over every single page. Maybe that doesn't work for you. One man in 8 has difficulty distinguishing between red and green, so you might use another way to indicate the right way and wrong way to do something. Here you should offer a suggestion like, consider using an icon for this purpose. So we know that there is such a thing as color blindness, and it affects men more often, and 1 in 8 men has this particular affliction. So you want to give them a suggestion that takes into account what they've done, but considers that there might be another way to go. There might be something else that they could do. So there's a difference between major and minor flaws in an entry. A major flaw would be illogical organization, incompleteness or missing content, consistently an unclear style, procedural steps that are buried in text, inconsistent pattern of spelling, grammatical errors, consistently confusing terminology, and unresolved links. Those are major problems with an entry. A minor problem might be issues that might cause minor confusion but don't slow the user down too much. A few instances of spelling or grammatical errors, misplaced graphic, inconsistent capitalization, and some confusing terminology. So there's a difference between, we understand that there are flaws, but there's a difference between a major flaw and a minor one. There's no limit to the number of awards that can be given on any level except for the best of show. There can only be one best of show for the whole event. Be objective and impartial, but helpful. Constructive feedback is valuable even if the work is of a below average quality. And look for the effectiveness, appropriateness, and professionalism in both your comments on the entries and in assigning the awards. The award designations are best of show, and again, that's only the one entry for this whole event. Distinguished technical communications, again, there's no limit to the number of those that can receive that award. Excellence and merit. Only one entry can be best of show. This entry has been selected by the judging teams present on Consensus Day from those entries that have been categorized as distinguished technical communications. It is the best of the best for this year. Distinguished Technical Communications Awards are clearly superior in all areas. They contain no major flaws and a few, if any, minor flaws. It applies the principles of technical communication in an outstanding way and anticipates and fulfills the needs of its audience. So that's a very specialized, very sought after award level. The Excellence Award, it has consistently high standards in all areas. It may contain a single major flaw or a few minor ones, and it clearly demonstrates an exceptional understanding of technical communications principles. The Merit Award is consistently high standards in all areas. It might contain a small number of major flaws or minor ones, and it applies communications principles in a highly proficient manner. So again, these are all award level entries. Even if an entry is distinguished, it should receive feedback on the form in the written comments. If an entry is of very high quality, your comments should highlight those things that set it apart in a very good way. Comment on the entry is why it received a particular reward level, and it needs positive reinforcement for the good work that was done. You don't write on any physical entries. If you want to make notes for comments on specific pages to use in your comments section of your assessment form, use sticky notes as placeholders. Return the physical entries as they were given to you and remove any sticky notes that you may have applied to the entry while you were in your judging process. Treat all information regarding awards given or not given as confidential until after the judging committee has had an opportunity to send out the notification letters. And official notification process takes about a month. I know that in the schedule they've said that they're going to be able to send out the official notifications within 2 weeks, but in the past it's taken a bit longer than that. I want to thank everyone, and as does everyone on the committee, wants to thank you for your participation in this event, for your time, for your energy, and for your insights. Your insights are the most valuable thing that we can offer to our submitters. From this experience, we know that entry submitters value all of your input and all of your comments. We appreciate your professionalism in stepping up in this way to serve, and that your participation provides a source of revenue for your chapters. So this is a very important process for us, and we can't thank you enough for stepping up and participating in this way. And that's it. So Carolyn, do you want to take over?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much, Carolyn, for that. Really appreciate it. And what perfect timing. You really did a good job with your timing on that, to have this much left, and we'll have time at the end, I think. So we'll go ahead and how about you stop sharing that document, and Phoebe, why don't you get started sharing what you will be showing, and I will introduce you. So again, Carolyn, if you don't see that share button, it hides. Yeah, there we go. Great, excellent. And Phoebe, and you are getting ready. Just want to make